Welcome to the Joy Shift Friday integration. If you heard Tuesday's episode, you now have a map. You know what the permission stack is. You know the three layers. You've probably already caught yourself in one of them at least once this week. But knowing the map and actually walking the terrain are different things. So that's what today is for. By the end of this episode, you're going to have one thing, one sentence written in your own handwriting or typed on your phone or whatever you have nearby right now. That's it, one sentence. And it's going to tell you something about yourself you already know, but haven't let yourself say clearly. Grab something to write with. Pause me if you need a second. This is not a passive listen. Let's do this. Now, here's how this works. We're going to run through all three layers of the permission stack together. I'm going to ask you a few questions for each one. You don't have to answer out loud. You don't have to have everything figured out before we move on. But what we're looking for is a flicker, the place where a question lands a little harder than the others, where your body does something before your brain has time to explain it away. That's your layer. And once you know which one you're in, the question that comes after it gets a lot more useful. Okay, let's start with the first one, external permission. Think about the thing you want, not everything you want. The one thing that's been sitting there longest, the thing you come back to. You have it? Good. Now, here's the question. In your mind, is there already a specific person whose reaction you're managing? Not hypothetically, specifically. You're already running their response in your head before you've even made a decision. If that person looked at you right now and said, I completely support you, whatever you decide, I'm with you, would you move tomorrow? If yes, you're in layer one. The thing you're waiting for isn't clarity, it's permission from someone else. And I want to say something gentle about that before we move on. That person probably doesn't know you're waiting on them. You've quietly put them in charge of your future and they have no idea. They're just living their life. And you're in a holding pattern, waiting for a green light they haven't been asked to give. Now, that's worth sitting with. The next layer is earned permission. Stay with the same thing you want. Now, tell me this. Is there a mental list, a checklist of things you need to accomplish, finish, prove, or become before you're allowed to go after it? Maybe it's a project you need to close out first, a number you need to hit, a habit you need to establish, a version of yourself you need to grow into before you're qualified enough to want this. Here's the tell. Imagine you've done everything on that list, all of it, done. When you get there, does your brain go quiet or does it quietly add something else? Because if the list keeps growing, the list was never the point. The list is the mechanism. The feeling underneath it is, I haven't earned this yet, and that feeling, it will always find new evidence. There is no amount of finishing that gives you the feeling of enough, not through that route. That's layer two. Now, the third layer is what I call cost permission, still with the same thing. Last layer. When you picture yourself actually going after this, does it come with a yes, but? Yes, I want this, but people will see me differently. Yes, I want this, but it could change things with my partner. Yes, I want this, but I built my whole identity around being the person who doesn't need things. Yes, I want this, but if I lose that, who am I? This layer is the subtlest one because it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like wisdom, like you're being thoughtful, responsible, mature. But there's a question worth asking here. Are the costs you're calculating real or are they imagined, not minimized, not dismissed, just honestly examined? Because sometimes the cost is real and you need to weigh it carefully. That's not the stack. That's discernment. But sometimes the cost is imagined. It's a story your brain built to keep you from taking up space. And those two things look almost identical from the inside. Okay, you've been through all three. You probably have a sense of where you are. Maybe a strong sense, maybe a complicated one. Now, here's the question I want you to actually sit with. Not just hear this, sit with. Whose voice is running that rule? Take the rule you've been obeying, the not yet, or the once I've earned it, or the yes, but. Say it out loud, literally out loud. Now ask, whose voice says that? Not metaphorically, whose actual voice? How old were you the first time you heard it? And here's the important part. Did that rule make sense then? Maybe it did. Maybe following it kept the peace. Maybe it was the smart move at the time. Maybe a younger version of you built it carefully and it served her. But that was then. And the question now is whether you want to keep letting a rule that was built for a different version of your life make decisions for that version you're living now, today. Here's what I want you to write. Finish this sentence. I am allowed to, space, finish it. Don't think about it too long. Don't let your brain edit it into something responsible. Just finish it. Write what you actually want to say. That sentence is the beginning of what comes next. It doesn't have to be a plan. It doesn't have to be logical. It doesn't have to be something you're ready to act on by Monday. It just has to be true. If you wrote something down today, you did something real, not because the sentence solves anything, but because you said it clearly. You stopped letting it be vague, formless thing in the background, and you named it. And that's not a small thing. A life built around what was allowed is different from a life built around what's true. You already know which one you want. I'll see you Tuesday. And if this practice opens something and you want to go deeper, I do this work one on one inside a Joy Shift conversation. It's a private session where we look at what's actually underneath your stack, not just the layer, but the original rule, where it came from, and what it would mean to stop letting it run your life. If that sounds like what you need right now, the link is in the show notes.